Good afternoon, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for Tuesday, October 28, 2025. And in the news this afternoon, Hurricane Melissa now to make landfall in St. Elizabeth. Senior meteorologist Evan Thompson says Hurricane Melissa has threatened and is expected to make a direct impact in western St. Elizabeth over the next few hours. Thompson gave the update at a press briefing at the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management Emergency Center in St. Andrew. He said the center of the hurricane is still some distance away, approximately 75 kilometers from Jamaica's southwestern coastline. The system is still moving slowly at 11 kilometers per hour or 7 miles per hour in a north to northeastern direction, Thompson said. We did say that the system is a Category 5 hurricane at this time, and when it makes landfall, it is expected to still be a Category 5 hurricane. That means it will cause catastrophic damage, life-threatening damage. There is very little that can stop a Category 5 hurricane, and regardless of where you are in the parish of Westmoreland or St. Elizabeth, if you are under the impact of those Category 5 hurricane force winds, you will be having significant difficulty even with the infrastructure that's in the area. So ensure that you are in the strongest area that you can. The recommendation from the Hurricane Center is that you would have as many walls between yourself and the outside as you can, because it is important to reinforce yourself and to ensure that you are not left vulnerable to this system, Thompson said. He said the system is expected to gradually reduce in strength as it moves over the island and is likely to fall to a Category 4 system and then possibly to Category 3. Thompson said a significant flooding is expected across the island and between 20 to 30 inches or 500 to 750 milliliters of rainfall affecting some sections. Flooding is expected, landslides are expected, storm surge is expected, and then, of course, those strong waves. We will not be able to escape, especially if you're in the path of this system and in the path close to the eye of the system, he said, adding that Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, and Trelawney will experience Category 5 hurricane force winds. Tropical storm force winds are expected over the rest of the country. He said several areas are expected to be inundated by storm surge, including Black River. We expect a significant storm surge, although the center is now expected to be somewhat over Black River. Storm surge could get as high as 13 feet. That's high. 13 feet is a couple of stories high, and so you need to be very prepared for that kind of activity if you are in any of those bays or inlets along the coast of St. Elizabeth in particular, and even going into Clarendon, Portland Cottage, Rocky, and even along the coast of Manchester, parts of Alligator Pond. Treasure Beach area should also be looking out for that kind of activity and going eastward as far as St. Catherine, said Thompson. Building loses roof as Melissa continues to impact Jamaica. A commercial establishment in Montego Bay has become an early victim of Hurricane Melissa after a section of its roof was damaged. Reports are that just about 3 a.m. on Tuesday, the roof was dislodged from the building located on Barnett Street due to strong winds associated with the weather system. The roof managed to take flight and landed on the road and on the nearby fire station compound, impacting a few cars. Firefighters managed to clear away the rubble, restoring free passage along the roadway. Man electrocuted in St. James. A man was electrocuted in Montego Bay, St. James on Monday when a billboard made contact with a power line. The Jamaica Public Service Company, which made the revelation, said the billboard was being taken down by the unidentified individual. JPS President and the CEO, Hugh Grant, described the incident as a sad and unnecessary tragedy. Mr. Grant said the company has observed that an increasing number of outages have been caused by persons cutting trees inappropriately and the trees falling on power lines. He is urging members of the public to do their part and to stay away from power lines. Melissa makes a landfall in St. Elizabeth. Hurricane Melissa has now hit land in the vicinity of Parati in St. Elizabeth. Officials from the Meteorological Service of Jamaica told the news that Melissa made landfall shortly after 11 a.m. Already, there have been reports of severe flooding and property damage in several communities in St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Westmoreland, and St. James. Earthquakes rock several Eastern Caribbean countries. 3 Caribbean countries were rocked by 3 powerful earthquakes, including 2 during a 17-minute interval on Monday. There were no immediate reports of injury or damage. The Seismic Research Center says that the first quake, with a magnitude 6.7, occurred at 8:38 a.m. at a depth of 12 kilometers. It says the tremor was felt in Guadeloupe, Dominica, and Antigua and Barbuda. The SRC said the other strong quake, which occurred at 8:55 a.m., had a magnitude 6.1 and again affected the same 3 Caribbean countries. It had a depth of 29 kilometers. The third quake, which occurred at 8:46 a.m., had a magnitude of 5.2 and a depth of 14 kilometers. The same 3 countries were affected. Residents in other countries, including Martinique, St. Lucia, and the St. Kitts and Nevis, also reported feeling the tremors. Some 35% of JPS customers without power. With Jamaica now feeling the worsening effects of Category 5 Hurricane Melissa, the Jamaica Public Service Company is reporting an increase in outages across several parishes. According to President and the Chief Executive Officer of JPS, Hugh Grant, approximately 240,000 or 35% of JPS customers are now without electricity, with the most badly affected parishes being St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Hanover, and St. James. Grant noted that approximately 75% of customers in these parishes were without power due to the impact of Melissa. Grant also reported that St. Thomas, Kingston, and St. Andrew, St. Catherine, and St. Anne were among the least impacted parishes at 8 a.m., with fewer than 10% of customers impacted in each of these parishes. We continue to respond and work around the clock to restore our customers in a safe and a timely manner, Grant explained. He was addressing a media briefing at the National Emergency Operations Center in New Kingston Tuesday morning. In the meantime, JPS reiterated that it has no plans to shut down the national grid, despite fake reports on social media that electricity in the entire island will be shut down on Tuesday. Minister with responsibility for energy, Daryl Vaz, said any power outage will be based on the impact of Hurricane Melissa on the JPS grid. The electricity grid had already been impacted by hurricane conditions, which have caused several power outages across the island. Several generating units, critical high-voltage substations, transmission and distribution lines across the island have been forced out of service by the hurricane-force winds, said Vaz. The minister also told the media briefing that the JPS has adequate firm generation online to serve its customers without the use of renewable sources. The majority of hospitals continue to be supplied with JPS power, except those in Manchester and the St. Elizabeth, such as Black River, Mandeville, and the Percy Junior hospitals. But I can confirm that they are operating on standby generator power, said Vaz. JPS crews continue to respond and restore critical facilities and the customers where it is safe to do so. In the meantime, JPS is reminding customers to stay safe and to take precautions to protect their life and their property, he added. Guys, thank you for watching. See you this evening at 6 p.m. for another news update.